Welcome home, Freelancer. L&L here from Anthem Enclave, bringing you another Seasonal Stronghold guide. Today we're going to be delving into the Tyrant Mine. This is probably the stronghold you're most familiar with, since this is the only one that you have access to until you finish the main story. Tyrant Mine is a good middle ground stronghold, and it's not the longest, it's not the shortest. It's pretty good for loot, and the boss fight is quite easy, and if you have enough damage, you can just outright kill the boss without worrying about any immune phases or shield bubbles that the other bosses have. It's not the most technically impressive stronghold, but once you get to the point where you've run every stronghold dozens of times, it's more than likely that this will be one of your favorites to grind. Alright, that's enough talking. Let's get going. As soon as you get out of the spawn room, you'll find the first multiplier orb on the left side of this tunnel. These gold multiplier orbs are one of several different ways that you can increase your multiplier throughout the stronghold. Your score multiplier shown on the right side of your screen will affect every single thing you do in this stronghold. It is by far the most important thing you should focus on. As long as you manage to get up to the maximum 16 times multiplier, you're going to come out with a great score. There's actually one more multiplier orb in this first room, and it usually spawns on the right side here, but it can spawn two other places. We'll see those other spots in a second after we pick up these red orbs. Each of the seasonal strongholds have 3 events that start a bonus score multiplier timer on the top right. Finishing the event within the allotted time will award you 1 multiplier, while failing to do so will cost you 1. Each event also has a mini-boss that can be spawned for an additional multiplier. In order to spawn the mini-boss in this first room, all you have to do is grab the 5 red orbs, which are along the back side of the room. If you didn't find the second multiplier orb in that first spawn location, as you're flying through here, you can look down and to the left. There's another spawn way down at the bottom here, marked in the yellow circle. If you still haven't found the multiplier, there's one more place to check coming up here. On the left side, there's some rocks sticking up out of the ground. It can spawn right behind them along the edge of the cliff here. Once you pick up the last of the red orbs, the mini-boss will spawn down in the main section of the room, and killing it will give you 1 more multiplier. But there's one more thing you can do here. If you're working with a team that you trust, some friends or squad mates, you can actually move to the second room of the stronghold, which is not yet active, but the multiplier orb over there will already be spawned. You can pick that up and get it ahead of time, gaining a few more points in this first event. This is not a great idea if you're playing solo, because this first event timer is actually pretty tight. You do need to be pretty quick in order to get the multiplier here. So if you go to the other side of the room and your teammates do not accomplish much while you're gone, you probably won't have time to finish the event, which is going to cost you 2 whole multipliers. Now we've got one last thing to do before we move on to the next room, and that is to find the Grabbit statue. Grabbit statues are collectibles that are found throughout the stronghold. There are 4 of them that you'll need to find and break in order to spawn a golden Grabbit at the end of the stronghold. The golden Grabbit will give you a whole bunch of points and another multiplier. This is worth about 2 million points on Grandmaster 3, which means 2,000 crystals, so it's very important that you get all these statues. There are 5 different places that the Grabbit can spawn in this first event. We found it here in the A position, marked with the purple circles. There's another one further ahead on a ledge on the right side, which is marked B. And then further down, across from the other multiplier orb spawn, the Grabbit is often soaking his feet in some little pools. The last 2 are up on the top side of the event, all the way at the back on either side of the room. Once you finish the event by bringing the 8 echoes down to the pad at the bottom, you're ready to move on to the next area. Now the second event is basically just the same as the first. You've got another mini-boss, another multiplier orb, which we already talked about, and another Grabbit statue. First thing you want to do here is spawn the mini-boss, which you can do by grabbing 3 echoes and placing them into the echo receptacles that are around the outside of the room. First one is back by the waterfall here on the left side. The next one is on the opposite side of the room, just down past all the waterfalls behind one of the turrets. And the final one is up high above the echo collection pad above that giant subwoofer. While you're running the echoes, you can look for the multiplier orb as well. All 3 spawns are on the back side of the room, which makes them really easy to check as you're running through the first 2 receptacles. The first one is up on the left towards the echo cages in the back. There's one that spawns between some rocks right in the center of the room, and the last one is by the far right waterfalls right before the turret that has the echo receptacle in it. Once you've spawned the mini-boss and killed it, we'll move on and just finish up the event real quick before we worry about finding the Grabbit statue. We found the Grabbit here in this playthrough on the A position on this picture, up on the side wall on the left side. As usual, there are 4 more spots that it could spawn at though. The B position is up above the echo cages in the backside. You'll sometimes find it hiding up on top of one of the rock outcrops in the middle of the room. Just look for the one that has the scorpion eggs on it. The last two are on the far right side of the room, near the exit tunnel that we'll go through once we finish the event. They spawn inside of the little holes left by the eggs that are embedded in the wall here. Now as we make our way down this path, on our way to the scorpion tunnels, we'll have our first note chain. Notes are these little colored orbs that you'll find throughout the stronghold. Each color signifies a different weight of points. Green is worth 10 points, blue is worth 50, and purple is worth 900 before your multiplier. A note chain is a trail of notes that needs to be picked up in the correct order in order to maximize your points. You'll see that this note in front of me is blue, but the one off in the distance there is green. Watch what happens when I pick up the blue note. The green one turns to blue. This will happen all the way down the chain. Each green note will turn blue until you get to the final note, which will change purple if you do it right. But if you pick up one green note in the wrong order, the whole chain breaks and you'll get no more blues and you will not get the purple at the end. This chain got broken, but you can see the note chain curves around the outside of the waterfalls and then ends in this doorway here. Now if we actually back up a little bit here, there's a little secret we can grab. There's a little mini boss that you can spawn down to the right here. It's just a Scar Enforcer, but it's worth some points. There's no multiplier or anything involved. This is not necessary. You can skip this if you want. It's just a few extra points if you feel like grabbing them. If he's not already here, there will probably be 2 small Scar enemies that you can kill, which will then trigger his spawn. Now I'll head back to the tunnel where the note chain ended. As you're coming through here, make sure you kill all the scorpions, as they're obviously worth some points. And there will also be some red crates through this hallway, so you want to look out for those. Once you've cleaned up the scorpions, as you come into the main hallway here, the first spawn of the multiplier orb will be right underneath you. And the other spawn where you might find it is all the way at the end of this tunnel on the right hand side, right before you go underwater. Alright, now we're going to back up again because there's one more important piece in this tunnel. That's the stronghold's tile puzzle. Instead of flying down the hallway, as you come out of the first little part with the scorpions, you turn left and fly up into a secret little side tunnel where you'll find the puzzle. You'll want to make sure to kill all the scorpions up here so you don't get shot at or attacked while you're doing this. And there will usually also be a red crate or 2 up here that you can grab while you're here. This puzzle is very simple in theory. All you do is grab the 5 tiles and place them down on the board. There's also one blank spot in the middle which allows you to shuffle the puzzle pieces around. Each tile has a single correct spot on the board where it needs to go. You place down all the tiles. Once you have all 5 in, the lights on the wall will light up and tell you how many you have right. But they won't tell you which ones you have right. The only way to figure it out is through trial and error by moving pieces around the board and seeing how the lights react. It's far easier to do by grabbing 2 pieces at a time and seeing the change. If you start moving too many pieces, you're going to get confused. You really just have to remember through trial and error process of elimination which ones are right and which are wrong, and keep going until you figure it out. This puzzle can take a while, especially the first few times you do it before you figure out a system and how to keep track of everything and whatnot. And because the next room is a very big deal, there are 4 multipliers in the next room, 3 of which you can lose if you're not there to help your teammates. I would not suggest you spend too much time on this puzzle if you're playing solo. If you're playing with a group and you trust them to be able to handle the next room, feel free to finish this up. But if you're playing with randoms and you don't think that they're 100% on the ball, I would not spend more than a minute on this puzzle because it is simply not worth it. This puzzle is worth about 150,000 points total after all the multipliers and all that, whereas losing one single multiplier is usually about 1,000,000 points, and you could lose 3 or 4 easily. Once you finish the puzzle and collected points, don't forget to wait for your points. You can skip a little bit of flight and swimming by opening your map and respawning. That'll put you right at the doorway for the next room. Only do this if you're playing with teammates that you know are grabbing everything, because there is one note chain along the way that you won't be able to get if you respawn. The note chain can be found in the underwater section just after the puzzle tunnel. If you are not the one doing the puzzle, you can grab that, or if you finish the puzzle and you don't trust your teammates, you can go through and check. This one's fairly difficult given that it's underwater and swimming is not the easiest, plus there's some tight spaces where you do have to be careful not to touch one of the green notes, but otherwise it's just a quick loop of this little underground cave and you're done. Now, like I said before, this next room is a big deal. Possibly the most important room of any stronghold. There are 2 multiplier orbs, there's a mini-boss, an event, and a Grabbit statue. And on top of that, the event timer is pretty tight, considering how much stuff you have to do and how much running around there is. The first multiplier orb is always in the same spot, it's super easy to find. As soon as you come into the room, fly straight across, and look behind some scorpion eggs on this platform, and it'll be there. Next you want to drop straight down and check underneath this structure that's in the middle of the room. The first spawn will be pretty much directly underneath the first multiplier. If it's not there, it should be at the same height just across the room against one of the walls right here. Now you want to make sure you work on spawning the mini-boss as quickly as you possibly can. Underneath the main platform there is a little relic with 3 lights on the wall. When you activate the relic, there will be symbols that pop up in a certain order. Left, middle, and right. There are 3 caves that lead off from this room. In each one there is a pressure plate that you need to step on in the order that is shown in this pattern up on these lights. While facing this relic, the caves will match the lights, so the one immediately to your left is the left light, the one immediately to your right is the middle light, and the one all the way right is the right light. If somebody steps on the wrong pad at the wrong time, the entire thing resets. You have to go to the middle and reactivate the relic before you can try again, which wastes a huge amount of time and can be very difficult to do if your teammates don't know what's going on. While you're going into these tunnels to get the pressure plates, make sure you have a look for the Grabbit, as there is 1 Grabbit spawn in each of the 3 caves. Just have a quick look around at the end of each cave. They'll be along the wall somewhere, they're not hard to find. If you don't see them in any of the caves, there are 2 more spots out in the center where they can be. The one marked A here is inside of a little egg hole in one of these spiky rocks, and the B spot is just underneath the ramp that leads up to the platform. Once you've got all that, make sure you just finish the event by grabbing all of the relics from the 3 caves and place them on the platform. You'll need a little over 2 minutes with everybody standing on the platform to complete the event, so make sure you keep an eye on the timer and move quick. Also, you want to make sure you kill all of the Scar before you put the last relic in, as they will despawn and they are worth quite a lot of points, as there's a lot of them and most of them are legendaries. Also, they tend to drop a lot of legendary items as well. This is a very good room for loot. Once you spend 2 or 3 minutes standing on this platform watching a green bar move, the door will open for you and you'll see the final Grabbit right here. The Grabbit boss does not spawn here though, it spawns quite a bit further in. As you fly through this tunnel, there's going to be a few more red crates and also some scorpions that you'll want to kill. And the last thing we're going to have to find is the final multiplier, which you definitely want to grab before the Grabbit. It is usually in this little canyon down here under the bridge. It wasn't this time, so it'll be in the next room, but while you're down here you want to make sure you kill these scorpions. And then there's also a note chain that starts down here and goes into the next room. If you didn't find the multiplier in that trench where the note chain started, it will be behind the Grabbit up on the ledges here. Make sure you grab that before you kill the Grabbit, otherwise you'll lose out on a whole bunch of points. Now, I've been told that there is apparently 1 more spawn for this multiplier. If you do not find it in these first 2 that I've shown you, it's possible that it could spawn behind the dead Swarm Tyrant in the room just outside of the boss room. I have never seen this myself in I don't even know how many runs, but one of my friends tells me he has, so if you have seen that spawn, let me know in the comments because I'd love some more confirmation on that. Once you finish with the Grabbit, then you are done with the secrets. All that's left is to go squish a big bug. So that's all we've got for now. Come check us out at AnthemEnclave.com for more guides, builds, info, pretty much anything you need relating to Anthem. We have a written Tyrant Mine guide on the website already that I will link down in the description below. It has a lot of pictures and locations for things that might help you out a little bit If you have any questions, you can leave a comment, or better yet, join our Discord server, which is in the description as well. We'll have plenty more content like this in the future, so if you want to stay updated, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But until next time, freelancers, remember, we are stronger together.